This was me, ABC poker, getting shoved around. Weak, boring, predictable. Then I stopped waiting for cards and I started fighting. It was dangerous and profitable. Now this is your saga. I learned to fight. Now I'll teach you. Ben Riggs, do you want to steal some pots? This is your saga. Let's get to work. King 7 suited in the big blind. Small blind raises. I flat call. We flop a monster draw in position. Villain checks. I think a solver says check back here. Especially if you get check raised. Gets a little ugly. But the Redline warrior at micro stakes playing ABC tags, we're going to take our equity, and when the villain checks and shows weakness, we're going to barrel with it. Is it optimal at 100 NL against a true student of the game? Certainly not. But that's how I play against an unknown micro stakes ABC tag. We bet, villain folds. Redline goes up. Queen 8 suited in the big blind. Villain 7 posts with 40 big blinds. Folds to us. I raise. Villain folds. 5-5 in mid position. This isn't a hand I like to raise in this spot. However, I'm looking at villain 2 and they're playing 40/20. Only 5 hands. I'm looking at villain 3 and after 5 hands they're playing 40/0. Very loose passive. If I can get into position against one of these players, I definitely want to play my pocket pairs in this case. Against a table of tough rags, no way. So I bump it up here even though this is not part of my normal pre-flop raise. If you look at my pre-flop charts, not raising 5-5 here, but only because of the adjustment I'm making for villains 2 and villain 3 here. Villain 3 calls and we run good. We have position, we're thinking about stacks. Villain bets half pot. Not enough. Not enough. I like to give a villain rope, but half pot's not enough in this situation. I think we need to maybe make a very, very small raise here. When the villain donks here, I feel like they're going to fold to a big raise if they're donking with air. So I'm going to maybe try to invoke a rebluff. Or who knows? Who knows what the villain's doing? It's just not enough money. So I raise, villain flat calls. Not too happy about the turn. It's going to scare the villain off of their king 9 or their 10-9 or pocket 8s. I don't know. Ace I'm not too happy with. But the villain comes out with a pot-sized bet. That's plenty. And now you might be thinking, well, what if the villain picked up a flush draw? I don't care. Poker's risky. Poker is brutal. Buckle up. A pot-sized bet is plenty here on the turn. So we call. Give him rope. The river seems like kind of a blank to me. So what's the villain do? Villain shoves. I snap. Bruh, you didn't shove with junk. You shoved with ambition. And the rake doesn't respect ambition. There's loose aggressive, there's maniac, and then there's whatever that was. Seriously though, how about villain's play here? The villain actually got a few things right. And this line takes a lot of courage. But what the villain's not considering here, and it's something that I want you to see and think about, is the strength of our ranges. I'm a mid-position raiser, and I raised his donk on the flop. Villain is wide. The mid-position range wins a lot more against the big blind than it loses. Think about that. Keep this in your mind. It's not like I checked the flop and then he led on the turn. I raised his flop donk bet. If courage won pots, villain 3 would be rich, but this is poker, not a motivational seminar. Ace king in the small blind. Unknown villain min raises. I 3-bet. Everyone folds. You know I'd rather play. 9-9 from cutoff. Everyone folds. Queen jack from early to mid position. Steals a blind. Ace king offsuit from the small blind. Villain 10 after 6 hands is playing 17/0. But ace king is such a monster. Of course we have to 3-bet. Takes a pot. It's not good for videos. I play at mixed stakes, so some of these might be upper level. You're going to see a lot of folds. Queen jack offsuit and cut off. Big blind calls. A lot of hands, 176 hands against this player, playing 30/5. Extremely loose passive. Like this defines loose passive. Fold to c-bet on the flop, 83%. Aggression frequency, 27%. Plays fit or fold, but wants to see a flop. We flop very strong. I bet for value. Villain folds. When we hit a hand and we see someone folds a lot, maybe we shouldn't bet. But another diamond, if he doesn't have a flush, will just scare him off anyway. Just fold out his equity. Don't play games. No mercy. 9-4 offsuit. Villain 5 is playing 11/11 in 9 hands. Villain 5 is either card dead or they're extremely tight. I may or may not have a note against this player if they insta-fold. Regardless, looking at those stats, I'm going to execute the silent condor. The silent condor observes, then it feeds. We raise with air, villain folds. 8-7 suited on the button. Looks like we have a poster. Villain 13 is posted. And villain 13 mid raises. We 3-bet. Villain calls. Alright, let's play. Not a good flop to see bet. Villain donks half pot. This is a tough spot, right? Do we put more money in the pot? What do you do here? I tell you, the first thing I do is a move I call the Ancient Dragon. The Ancient Dragon plays the player. So far, this player folds to flop c-bets 50% of the time. But most importantly, I'm looking at this player's aggression frequency. And I have this big HUD here that I didn't explain. But right here, this Q36, that's a 36% aggression frequency, which is really low. So whenever I'm facing an opponent with a really low aggression frequency and they bet, I'm going to believe them. So I bow out, respectfully. Nice hand, villain 13. Play the player. So if this villain was the type to bet 8 out of the last 10 times, that's a different story. But I'm observing this villain's aggression frequencies and playing accordingly. The Ancient Dragon, playing the player, making these adjustments is perhaps one of the most important things you can do for your red line and your green line. 3-3 on the button. Steals the blinds. Ace-9 mid position. Steals the blinds. Ace-10 offsuit mid position. Party hand. Not much you can do here, right? Did we learn anything? We learned that villain 7 is a greedy beaver, that he's willing to stab with just one overcard when everyone checks. But 5-way, I don't know. Queen-9 offsuit in the big blind. A weak tag steals from the button. We have 2 cards that are both bigger than a 9, so I call. I don't think I see any reason to defend here. But when villain checks on a king-high flop and an ace turn, what do? Are you a dojo member? Then you know exactly what to do here. You take our pot. That's what you do. That's why we're calling with any 2 cards bigger than a 9. You want a good red line? Work on your reverse floats. When the villain shows no interest in the pot like this, it's kind of like them saying, here, take this pot. I don't want it. Okay. Thank you. Queen-10 offsuit in the big blind. A weak, tight tag, raises from the button. We 3-bet. Villain folds. 6-4 offsuit on the button, my favorite hand to steal with. I'm just kidding. What I'm looking at is villain 5 has 13/13 stats. Villain 1 has 13/8 6 stats, all after 16 hands. What's the name of this move? The Silent Condor. We observed, now we feed. Muchas gracias. King Jack in mid position. Villain 15 calls, playing 30-30. I don't know too much else about this player. Gut shot and overcard, dry flop. We see that. Take the pot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Go to redlinewarrioracademy.com. Check out my 3 biggest Redline leaks video and how to fix them. Come train with me. Subscribe. We're not going to feed you to the sharks. We're going to make you a shark. I'll see you in the dojo.